There's a classic saying, like, you're not worth what you think you're worth. You're worth what somebody's willing to pay you, right? Whether that's a service, a product, right? It's not exactly worth what you think it might be. It's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay you, whether that's more than what it's actually worth or whether it's a little bit less than you think it's worth, right? It's all about what are you willing to get? What's somebody willing to give you, right? You could be like a photographer, take whatever pictures or, I don't know, some package. It's actually worth $20 of your time, your energy, your product, right? But in reality, someone who's not good at it is going to be like, oh, I'll pay you 50 for it. I'll pay you 50 for your service, whatever, right? Because that's what you're worth on the open market. That's the true value of what you're worth when somebody's giving you money for a product, a service, etc. Right? Same thing with any industry, really. Football's no different. We've seen 2, 3 examples now. I keep hearing that Derek Carr is no good. He's got $37 million for 4 years. 37.5, I'm sorry. Even better. Most of it guaranteed. Well, that's odd. It seems pretty valuable to me. It's about the 7th most valuable starting quarterback in the league. Now, I know money's not everything because you got Tannehill up there and other iffy quarterbacks. But if you ever want to know your market, or you want to know your value, test the market. Right? So go test it. Lamar's about to. Let's look at Lamar's testing the market so far. He thinks he deserves a fully guaranteed contract because of Deshaun Watson and the Browns. First of all, let's start there. Can we not let the Cleveland Browns decide shit for what a market is? They don't get a say ever to how to dictate any business market ever. Like, why, as a business, we'd be like, yeah, you know what? The worst business in our industry, let's do what they're doing. That's an awful idea. That's terrible. What if all the streaming services were coming out, hey, we're streaming this show, and we're streaming this show, and Blockbuster's like, hey, do what we're doing. Keep selling discs in stores. That's a terrible idea. That's an awful idea.
Not a great business model.
That's a terrible business model. So is Cleveland giving Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed contract after he sat out for 2 years and then touched about 40 women and then had to sit out for almost another full year. Yeah, let's give that guy fully guaranteed money. Right, so I totally get what Baltimore's doing, right? Hey, no, we're not going to let what Cleveland did reset the market because at the end of the day, hey, it's Cleveland. Right? Like, you wouldn't go to Green Bay and be like, hey, you know how Detroit did that really stupid thing? Because that's what Detroit does. We should probably do that. That'd be a terrible idea. Right? It's awful. But my point is, Lamar wants this fully guaranteed contract, wants it structured a certain way. To be frank, nobody wants to give it to him. Baltimore, a really smart, well-run organization, said, absolutely not. Hell, even Atlanta's not a good organization as of late. And they said, no, we'll pass. We'll pass. The Jets, as of now, are rolling with Zach Wilson and Mike White. And they haven't even been rumored to be discussing Lamar Jackson. Haven't even reached out, haven't discussed him in the room. Or at least hasn't leaked that they've been discussing him in the room. Houston sucks so bad, don't have a quarterback. They could easily trade for Lamar Jackson, give them their 2nd overall pick. It's a bad draft anyway, so it'd be the perfect draft to trade down. No, they're good. They'll hang tight. The market will tell you what you're worth. Lamar's great, no doubt about it. But he's kind of plateaued as a passer. He's not that special in that area. He's still a great runner, but he's been hurt 3 of the last 3 years because of his running. So it's not so simple. It's not as linear as, oh, Lamar's good, let's just pay him. Right? So there's 2 examples of what you're actually worth. Lamar thinks he's worth a bunch. Social media says, hey, he can run really fast. He's worth a bunch of money. But then in reality, the market says, nah, we'll hang tight. We'll hang tight. Derek Carr's kind of nerdy, right? And I like Derek, but he's a little bit, he's not super cool. Gives you a Kirk Cousins vibe where it's like Kirk Cousins with chains around his neck. Like, it's a little weird. Right? Derek kind of gives you that feel. But he hits the open market and he's the 7th highest paid quarterback in the league. Because that's what the market says he's worth. Would I feel better around 30? Yeah, probably. And I'm a Derek Carr fan. I think he's a really nice NFL quarterback, but 37.5 might be a little bit, might be a little hefty. Right, but New Orleans said, you know what, screw it, we can win games with them. We can win games. A lot of games. He tested the market, and the demand was there. Jets wanted him. Carolina made calls. Saints got him. Good for Derek. We'll monitor the Lamar situation. But that is a prime example of The market's going to tell you what you're actually worth. You don't dictate your market. You might be at your job right now and you're like, I don't know, you're making 100,000, nice easy number. You're like, oh, I don't get paid enough for this shit. That's a common thing that people say. I don't get paid enough for this. Okay, well then, quit. See what's out there. You'd be very surprised how many people aren't lining up to give you 120 like you think you're worth. You'd be very surprised in whatever industry you think it is. Right? You'd be very surprised. Right? Lamar has a tailored system just to him. He's got a historically great organization right there. So a couple bucks here and there. And I like athletes. Go get your money. That's fine. But let's also be real about it. What are you going to go to? Well, I guess Atlanta's out. But what are you an Atlanta type situation? Get a bunch of guaranteed money and then what? Be a chandelier in an empty warehouse for a bad organization? Well, go for it. Go try it out. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We'll see. Good for Derek. That's a prime. That is a textbook definition. That is a perfect example. The market will tell you what you're worth.
Yeah, and just the entire situation. The first thing that I thought when I saw him going there was, oh my God, he just escaped divisional hell.
Yeah.
In the AFC West.
Yeah, and you got a great division to go into.
You don't have to play against Mahomes twice a year. You don't have to play against Herb twice a year. You don't have to play against Sean Payton and Russell Wilson twice a year. Nope. You get to go to the NFC South, which has been horrific recently.
As of right now, we have Kyle Trask, Desmond Ritter, and Matt Corral as the starting quarterback.
So I think you can go in there and win, I would say...
Probably the division.
You could easily win the division, I feel like.
And I like New Orleans. They're going to have to make a bunch of roster cuts to get under the cap. But, I mean, even just young talent, right? I like Chris Olave a lot. That Marquez Callaway's a decent, probably 3. So maybe you go draft a 2. Maybe you go get a cheap 2 in free agency.
Yeah.
Offensive line's good enough. You got Kamara. Defense is certainly serviceable.
It's definitely a division right there.
I mean, today...
I think the division's there for the taking.
Today, he's probably a top 5 quarterback in the NFC. Yeah. If Aaron stays, you got Aaron, Jalen Hurts... Probably like, and then there's that next tier. There's probably like, I would say Stafford if he's healthy. Mm-hmm. But then I would go like that next tier. You could pick your order, but like Dak, Derek, Kirk, Jared Goff, like that next tier.
I was gonna say Goff.
He's somewhere in there, so he's probably anywhere between 4 and 7 in the AFC, as opposed to like 11th in the in the NFC, opposed to like 11th in the AFC.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. He has gone to a place with less competition. He should be able to thrive. I think it'll end up being pretty good for him there. I think it'll be better than Vegas was.
No, I agree.
That's what it boils down to.
I agree. I guess we'll find out. Let's move